Anyway, so welcome to the APBL graduation. Um, if you were here previously, you know around 1 or 2 months, I believe 1.25 months ago, we had a midterm almost presentation, and this midterm presentation discussed what Adam will do in this next month and 2.25 month, 7 days. I don't know why I'm using point decimal numbers, but yeah. So this is a almost a progress update on how far he's gotten. Maybe some of the difficulties that he's done. We'll have questions at the end, and I'm very excited to see what Adam has done. Inshallah. So what I'll do is I'm going to share my screen, and then Adam's going to introduce himself, and then everyone else is going to introduce themselves, all in like that order. So we have two Shivs in the house. We have Shivam 1, Shivam 2. The evil Shivam and then the good Shivam is what, that's what's going on right now. Let me share my screen. All right, so Adam, you want to introduce yourself?
All right. Assalamualaikum everybody. My name is Adam. I'm a senior in high school, and I live in Baltimore County.
Cool. Do you want to talk about what you do at Ilya?
Oh, okay. Ilya's okay. So at Ilya, I work with Ilya Research to uh, clear misconceptions about Islam through article writing, and I'm also involved with APPL and the Youth Council at Ilya.
Good. So I'm going to go alphabetical order, so it's a lot easier. So my name's Alawi, program director here at Islamic Leadership Institute of America. So I run and maintain all our programs and all our repeating events. I cooked salmon. That's what I did. Try to make salmon burgers. Anything else about me? No, that's not it. Feel free to contact me at any time. And then next on the order is going to be Baha.
Assalamualaikum everybody. I'm Behet, the current president of Ilya, joined Ilya about 3 or 4 years ago. And yeah, I'm just here to watch and see another one of our great students graduate, alhamdulillah.
And what comes? Is it T first or S first? I don't remember that, my alphabet.
QRSTU.
S first.
It was S first. All right. Shivam, how you doing?
Hey guys, Shivam. I'm a college student as well. I used to go to Maryland, and I'm just a friend of Ilya.
A friend of Ilya, that's how I like to hear it. And then Baha. Oh wait, no, Baha already went my full time ago. Oh man.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Peace and blessings. My name is Tama Koshan. I'm a cultural anthropologist. I'm the founding director of APP HRC, Aging People in Prison Human Rights Campaign. I've been working with Ilya, I've been working with Alawi, then brought me on to Ilya, and I'm always honored to come to the APPL graduations. I'm very inspired by the youth today, so I'm always interested and inquisitive of what they're doing and new ideas. So I'm always welcome to be here, even when Alawi tells me a couple of hours before. I try to make sure that I am present. So thank you, Alawi, for the invitation.
Thank you so much for coming as well. All right, Adam, just tell me next slide and whatever. You're good to go.
All right. Yeah. So as you can see, this is APPL graduation, and my lab program focused on the case of Dr. Afia Siddiqui. So this is a memo. You can, I guess they can click there, right? Yeah, and you can go see the memo that I drew up about this this case. Maybe drop in chat. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll also email it to you afterwards, so yeah, it's not gonna be complicated.
So the goal of the APPL lab program, right, is to bring attention to Dr. Afia's case and provide the correct story of the injustices committed against her. This lab also seeks to dispel the demonizing claims that we see all over the internet and all over the media that have been attached to Dr. Afia's name since the early 2000s when this case started. So in doing so, the lab seeks to free Dr. Afia Siddiqui, and we saw that we determined that the best route to accomplish this would be to write a document that details all the facts regarding Dr. Afia's case, and then dismantling the most common accusations against her innocence in that document, right? So going through all the facts and then also going through all the accusations. So this will help, of course, bring awareness to the public about the case, and help bring some clarity, and also publicize the facts. Yep. So the progress that has been made since mid-December, when this lab started, was this lab program kind of served as like the bedrock for the publishing of this document. So lab program, we it allowed for sufficient research and outlining the document for the document to be completed, as well as the outreach plan, right? So at the beginning of the lab, I had been first introduced to this case, and I had gone online and done my research, but there were so many contradictions and so much confusion. I didn't know what to make out of it. It was only after the lab began and I talked to some like the leading activists who know a lot on this, know or very knowledgeable about this case, and I read some of the reports that some of the lawyers had to put out about this case. That's when some clarity started coming in. But by meeting with activists and knowledgeable, the path for completion and utilization of the document has been paved. So the document has started and it's in the works, but it's not yet ready for release. But the lab program kind of served as, like I said, the bedrock for publishing it. So just some background on the case itself. And this is really shortened. So Dr. Afi Siddiqui is an American-educated Pakistani neuroscientist who attended the prestigious MIT as well as Brandeis University. She holds a PhD in neuroscience and was well respected by her colleagues and community before she was abducted in Pakistan, along with her children in 2003. So Dr. Afi Siddiqui's family, they blame the Pakistani government officials for her disappearance, and Dr. Afi's family sent a message to keep silent about their daughter's kidnapping shortly after their disappearance. So the next sighting of Dr. Afia was a few years later in Bagram prison, Afghanistan, which is an American-run prison in Afghanistan, set up after 9/11. So after 5 years of being abducted, there were sightings there, and then they transferred her to a compound in Ghazni, Afghanistan, and she's accused of taking at Ghazni, Afghanistan. She's accused of taking an American Army rifle and firing it at American soldiers in the room, and she missed the story. According to the American government, it goes that she missed and said the soldiers shot back, and she was injured that way. After that, she was taken to a courtroom in New York to stand trial for attacking the American soldiers. And the important thing to note is that she was never charged with terrorism, right? She was only charged with attacking and shooting at the soldiers. So the whole case was supposed to rest on that idea. If you look deeper into it, you'll see that a lot of the stories of her being or the accusations against her being a part of Al-Qaeda or terrorist organization, they all fed into the jury's decision to end up convicting her. But the court case was supposed to be based on this incident. We'll go deeper into that. So she was only charged with firing at soldiers, and the mainstream media had labeled her Lady Al-Qaeda. And this is in the court. The trial is taking place in New York. This is after 9/11 and all that stuff. So there's a lot of a bias, you could say, towards court cases like this. So it swayed the jury, and she was sentenced to an 86-year sentence at the Federal Medical Center in Fort Worth, Texas, where she is right now. So the next steps for this project are, first and foremost, to complete the document detailing the facts regarding Dr. Afia's case and dismantling the accusations against her. Right? This document will allow for us to reach out to our compiled masajid and Islamic organizations, right, and convince them to campaign on behalf of Dr. Afia, right? So the support and awareness that is going to be raised by the document, as well as the social media outreach done by Ilya Research, will provide pressure, will put pressure on state and local governments to reevaluate her innocence and hopefully get her out of prison. So this is just a few of the accusations that we went through during the research. And the first one is, did Dr. Afia fire a gun at the soldiers, right? So, which is the basis for the New York court case, which ended up sentenced her to 86 years in prison. An Afghan police commander signed an affidavit, right, saying Dr. Afia never fired a gun at the officers while she was in the compound in Ghazni. So it's very, what happened in the court at the time. It's so hard to even find out what happened online. There's so much. One article says this, another article says that, but we know that this affidavit was signed. I think it was brought up during the court, and Dr. Afia's lawyers did bring it up, but the jury still went against her. Question number 2 is, was Dr. Afia a malicious person that planned on using her PhD education for evil? No, Dr. Afia was a neuroscientist whose research, instead focused on learning in disabled children. She studied the learning patterns in disabled children, and she sought to explore that field of neuroscience and research. So, I mean, how does a person who willfully studies this kind of thing end up joining Al Qaeda or something like that? I mean, it's just, you got to look at it like, frankly. The third thing is, did Dr. Afia shoot the gun that the prosecution claims she fired? Actually, when the lawyers of Dr. Afia went to the Ghazni compound and they examined the weapon that the American government gave her, and they examined the place where the supposed shooting took place, there was no forensic evidence at the scene to show that the gun they suggested she fired was actually fired. Right. First off, there was no her fingerprint wasn't on the trigger of the gun or on the gun itself. And the second thing is that the holes in the wall that they claimed when she fired and she missed her bullets, that they went into the wall, the holes in the wall came from a bullet that did not match the gun that they were accusing her of firing. So those two things kind of show that, she didn't really, there's something like messy going on. It's not clear cut evidence to prosecute her on. So then this is a quote I wanted to put in. It's a very famous quote from the Quran. "O you who believe, stand out firmly for justice as witnesses to Allah, even if it be against yourselves, your parents, or your relatives, or whether it is against the rich or the poor." So this is, kind of showing how, for a lot of, Muslims that are afraid to, research this case or stand up for or speak out against about this case, this kind of tells us that, we're obliged to speak out, even if it's against, ourselves, right? So if by speaking out you lose a position or your reputation or whatever, you're still commanded to, speak out.
That's about it. Any questions?
So how many new people learned about this, tragic case?
So during this lab program, we didn't complete the document fully, right? We completed all the research and the outreach planning and all the things all the things before it, and the outline, and we completed part of the document. We didn't finalize it though. We're looking to finalize it in the coming weeks and put it out there. And when we put it out there, right, it'll allow for more people to find out about it, and we'll publish it to Ilya's research site and send it to Masajid and other organizations that could help raise awareness.
Do you have a goal number then for the amount of people you want to educate?
I think the exact number, no, because if you want to track how do you define educating somebody? Do you define just a page view, or do you define just a comment or like? I think um, I think you could say uh, the number of people that we want to reach. I think we could go up to like a few thousand, if not more.
So we actually have metrics on our original planning. Adam, can you actually pull that up real quick? Your planning document.
Planning is it in the Trello you said, or
Yeah, if you click on the Trello, it's all there.
did we? Oh, okay. So we said, yeah, we said the number of page views on our article. We wanted to get uh, 2,500, right, on our article specifically on the Ilias research site, but I don't think we specified the number of total people reached through the initiative.
We also tell them about the organizations as well.
So we put together a list of 10 organizations that we want to reach out to, whether masajid or activist organizations that we want to send an email to let them know about the case. And of course, we link the document in that email, and we explain to them we explain to them a lot of the common claims against Dr. Afi's innocence, and hope that they speak out.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
I had a quick question. Do you know if she has any like current appeals in court, or if she's up for parole or anything like that anytime soon, or like what are the next steps for her?
I think I've discussed this a lot with Brother Maury, who I believe he was or he is the spokesperson for Dr. Afia's family. He told me that the chance of appeal or any kind of thing like that isn't likely. He said that, or I'm not sure if it's even possible, but he said that the three biggest ways of releasing Dr. Afi Siddiqui is, number one, through presidential pardon, right, where the president pardons her and just allows her to walk free. The second thing is compassionate release, right? So during all this imprisonment and torture to Dr. Afia, her mental health and her psychological state has deteriorated, and so many are arguing that this could be something that compassionate release, the American government could release her on these terms, because she's not a danger to anybody. And then the third way would be prisoner exchange, where the Pakistani government negotiates some kind of prisoner exchange with the American government, and she's granted freedom that way.
Thank you.
I had a question. And in your research, were you able to find out which particular federal agencies were involved in bringing the case against Dr. Afia?
I believe it was the FBI, right?
Uh-huh.
And I know that the Pakistani ambassador to the United States, the former Haqqani, he was present during the court trial, and I think he said many things against Dr. Afia to the press, and he was one of the proponents of or one of the people that led to the jury or contribute to the jury going against her, despite the evidence at hand, or lack of evidence for her guilt, you could say. But yeah.
Let me ask you, usually with this type of case and when this occurred, usually it's more than one federal agency involved. Do you know what other agencies coming out of DC, federal agencies were involved, or were you able to see in the court hearings who was present, federal representatives?
I don't think I wrote down the exact name of the federal representative, but I know it was FBI or the CIA. They were there, and the American government, they they tried to paint a picture that uh, she was the one. She was in the room and she shot at the soldier. She came up from behind the curtain and she shot at the soldiers, and that she missed, and then they shot back, and she was injured that way, or that she took the gun. And but there were many. One thing important thing to point out is that there were many discrepancies between the soldiers' accounts and the American government's retelling of the story in court, and that one soldier would say she was sitting or standing, and the other soldier would say the opposite, or one soldier would say she snuck up on them or whatever it may be. There are many discrepancies, and the defense pointed that out, but the jury still decided to vote against. So I don't think I know the exact names of. No, I don't.
Okay, another question. Were you able to find out when was the exact initial type of negative propaganda that began to appear in news headlines against Dr. Afia? This is before the firing or anything.
Before the Ghazni incident?
Yeah, before that. Usually some type of propaganda negative begins to filter into the news, into articles.
I think the first I think the first thing was some kind of article labeled her Lady of Al Qaeda.
Do we
I
know
don't
who
think.
labeled her that?
No, I don't. No, we don't. I spent. I have to say I spent hours looking online on this topic, and a lot of what I found was just the same things either being repeated or yeah.
Okay. That was my question. I was just trying to figure out. It's always a timeline. What was the initial timeline? Who was the people to voice? And this is usually a timeline you could with these type of political prisoners. Interesting. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Sorry if you have none. Adam, can you talk about a little bit more about your outreach strategy? So, like, what do you think is going to happen with your outreach strategy?
Yeah. So we have the organizations that we want to contact, and the biggest thing is that the document is gonna, when a person reads it, it's gonna, go against what they read on Wikipedia or what they read in a news article a few years back, or when the first thing you search up, you find news articles that put out common claims. So the document will, try to uh, dismantle those arguments and convince the organizations we're trying to contact that Afia has been denied assumption of innocence and all these things. So I think that's the biggest thing is the document and the emails, and then paired with uh, asking them to support us through statements or some kind of cooperation on something that on some kind of public statement that would help bring more awareness to her cause. And also social media would be a big part of that, right? Especially those Instagram cards that you swipe through. I know we spoke about making one of those that would condense the things that we want to get across, and also help bring, and it could be you could very easily partner with whoever may be over social media, and that way
I had a question. Brother Am, have you considered doing a presentation sort of like what you're doing now with these organizations that you've targeted, like a brief overview? And I like how you segregated to those three main arguments, three main platforms. Have you considered or thought about that?
I think getting an organization that we may know but not be very close to sit down for like an hour or however long and listen to this kind of thing. I think it may be effective, but the much in my opinion, the sending an email or the document or contacting them in other ways, that would get to more people, to more voices, right? Like instead of just those that select, leadership of that one organization listening to a kind of presentation like this. But I think it's definitely on the table for convincing them. And
Well, what I had in mind, I was thinking like a round table of a representative from like maybe 5 or 7 organizations at one time to hear this presentation. That was my thought.
I think that's definitely on the table. Yeah.
Are you also, or have you been in contact with the family or with like their legal team or anything like that to see if they have any specific needs or anything that could help?
I think her family or her sister, Fauzia Siddiqui, she's pretty vocal on social media and other platforms, and she's very much active and all that. I did speak to the spokesperson of her family, and he was very helpful in getting me a lot of the information that I needed. And I don't think I did say that the three most the three biggest ways of getting her free are pardon, prisoner exchange, and compassionate release. I don't think that an appeal or something along those lines would work at this point. Although that is definitely, I think I spoke to Brother Mori about that before, but it's not coming up right now.
Could you go more into that last statement about like why appeal won't work?
I kind of just said that I believe I spoke to Brother Mori about it, but I can't necessarily remember what necessarily was the impediment for it. The court case was in 2010, right? And I think, or the court case was in 2010, and they sentenced her to 86 years in prison. It's definitely a good question if an appeal or something along those lines would work. I'll look into it definitely. But from my knowledge, the top 3 ways are compassionate release, prisoner exchange, and presidential pardon.
And also appeal would go back, put her back into the courts, back into the system when she's already done so much time and the environment is right. Looking at everything that's going on with racial injustice, the Islamophobia, the Biden-Harris administration with so many people of Indian, Asian descent. The time is right just to ask for her sentence just to be commuted or some kind of way of exchange just to end that and to allow her just to walk free. I think that's kind of maybe the reason behind not doing an appeal. It may drag out for additional years, which would really be a de facto sentencing for her already, adding more time to her prison time.
Good. Any last questions before we move forward? All right, cool. So we will be emailing everyone here the memo that was created for this document, and for this presentation. There will be a lot more information in the future. We'll be updating everyone regularly about this. Feel free to contact Adam at any time. His email is adamg@islamicleader.org, or contact me or Baha or Tomiko or Shivam or Amin or anyone around this. But yeah, it's very happy to have everyone here. Very happy for Adam and the work that he's doing. So yeah, cool. Adam, you want to have any last thoughts before we move forward?
I just want to, I guess, reflect upon, from the beginning, when project proposal happened in mid-December till now, I've learned a lot, right, about this case. And at the beginning, I was really confused. Like, I didn't know what was going on. It was like a mess of all this information that, you know, one source said this, another source said that, and you know, I had to figure out, you know, all the small pieces, and I put them together, and I was able to, you know, figure out that, you know, she was denied assumption of innocence, and you know, the claims that the prosecution made, and that all these people online make, you know, they're not necessarily 100%, you know, true. So yeah, I guess definitely a journey, definitely an experience, and you know, Ali was there, you know, making me, you know, set deadlines and do all this, and I think this can be really fruitful. We're gonna keep pushing forward, and you know, yeah.
Just out of curiosity, I don't really know how it works. Did you choose this case, or was it like assigned to you?
So the lab program for this cohort, it kind of, I talked to Valerie, and he was like, you should probably do this case, and I was like, okay. So I mean, it wasn't I didn't know too much about it before. I had actually only heard of it. Like, my first time hearing about it was like 2 weeks before we had letter writing night with APPL, and that was my first time hearing about it.
With that, assalamu alaikum, everyone.